Rodriguez with me this morning. Well, Lieutenant Governor Sara Rodriguez. I should probably put that title in there. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We made it despite the really heavy snow this morning.
I know.
It's that fake spring that we get every time in Wisconsin, and it fools us all.
I
and
know.
then the next day, there's snow.
I know. And we're supposed to get, and I'm going to throw my husband under the bus on this one because, you know, I'm his wife. I can do that. He told me this morning, like, we're supposed to get like 5 inches tonight.
Jeez.
I know.
Unacceptable.
Totally
really.
unacceptable.
I know. We do live here, though. And
we do.
We voluntarily choose this.
We do. So. But by now, I mean, we had 50-degree weather this week.
I know.
Now we have, you know, sleet.
I know.
This is unfair.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do about it? You said it. We choose to live here.
Yeah.
But I have some questions for you, Sara.
Good.
All right. Well, let's just dive right in and get right to it. So what specific impact will your administration's priorities have on smaller communities like Marinette and Menominee, especially when it comes to workforce and economic development?
Yeah, so I'm running for governor, and one of the things that's really important to me is that I'm going to be a governor for the entire state, which means that we have to look at rural spaces, we have to look at the urban spaces, and have a statewide strategic plan for all. And the goals are the same, but the strategies may be a little different depending on where you're at. So we want to make sure that people are coming into our state, that we are increasing economic development. But that means we need the infrastructure for people to want to live here, particularly young families. So if I think about rural spaces and healthcare, that is a huge challenge. I mean, sometimes if you want to have a baby, you've got to drive an hour, hour and a half to get a hospital that's actually still doing deliveries. That's a real challenge for folks. So I was the chair of the Healthcare Workforce Task Force with Governor Ebsch and myself. And we have a lot of strategies that are there that are going to help bring additional healthcare workforce into places that have seen them leave, whether that is financially incentivizing them with loan repayment or maybe even down payment assistance on a home. These are some of the ways that we can create the infrastructure to increase that economic development.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. Now, shipbuilding and manufacturing in our region, you know, it's our major economic drivers. How is the state supporting long-term stability for industries like Fincantieri and skilled trades in Northeast Wisconsin?
First of all, I want to say I heard the news about the ships that are going to be built here, which is very exciting. So congratulations to Marinette. That's great. So what we need is to have more skilled workers to be able to do the type of work that you guys need here in Marinette for shipbuilding. So working with the technical colleges and the communities and the business owners to make sure that they are offering the types of programs that they actually need, that the skills that they come out of from those technical colleges are something that can be directly applied to businesses here. The other thing we need to do for stability is broadband access all across the state. Governor Ebsch and I have a goal that every single household and business should have broadband access by 2030. That is something that I'm going to continue to push for and even try to make it a little sooner if we can, because we know it's almost like, it's utility, like your phone or, water, sewer, all of these things. Lights, all the things. Like you can't really work if you don't have good broadband access to be able to do that.
Exactly. You can't go to school.
No, we saw that. I know.
School.
I saw that during COVID.
Exactly.
When you saw kids outside of McDonald's trying to get the Wi-Fi from McDonald's to get their homework done.
I mean, the library.
I know. It's so we have to make sure we have that type of infrastructure all across the state.
Definitely. Now, we're seeing ongoing conversations about infrastructure, broadband, and rural investment. What concrete progress can residents in rural counties expect in the next year?
So the next year we're still going to work on the broadband access.
Okay.
But in terms of my plan as governor, is we also have to work on the amount of money we give for cities and municipalities. When I go all across the state, particularly in rural spaces, the city managers, the county board supervisors, your husband's one of them. I imagine he would say this to me. That the amount of money that's coming from the state does not meet the needs of the communities, that they are unable to be able to do the roads, keep the parks open, EMS, fire, and that they're continuing to have to raise property taxes to be able to just do these basic services. We are top 10 in the country for property taxes. Top 10. And so we need to make sure, and that was decisions that were made honestly during Republican administrations about, not investing in our schools properly and not investing in our cities and communities properly. And so when I am governor, those are the kind of things that I'm going to look at. That formula of how we fund cities and communities needs to be updated.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Now, this one, we've been hearing a lot about mental health.
Yeah.
Lots. And public safety continue to be major concerns for communities across Wisconsin. What steps is the state taking to support local law enforcement and mental health resources?
So, again, that healthcare workforce task force had a lot of really good recommendations to be able to increase the number of mental health providers across the state. I think one person told me we could double the amount of mental health providers in the state of Wisconsin and it still wouldn't be enough. I mean, that's kind of rough, right? And so we have to put more investment into that particular field. But what we find is it takes them quite a bit of time to be able to get to a master's degree or something along those lines, and then they're not paid particularly well.
Right.
So this is a need that we have as a state, making sure that we are able to either do loan repayment or other types of financial incentives for social workers or other therapists is going to be a priority for me. And we need to do some additional rural infrastructure funds so that for healthcare, because with the bill that came through in the federal government, they're cutting Medicaid, they're cutting Medicare, and that's going to affect rural spaces way more than it's going to affect urban and suburban spaces. Mm-hmm. So we've applied for some rural stabilization healthcare funds, and then when I become governor, that's something that I would expand upon because we know we need that stabilization within rural healthcare. We can't have additional hospitals closing, and we've seen that in western Wisconsin. It's devastating.
It is.
I had a friend whose daughter was 8 months pregnant, and then that hospital closed with no notice and had to switch to a different hospital. It was her first baby.
No.
Can you imagine how stressful that is?
Oh my God.
I know. So we have to make sure we're stabilizing the healthcare system.
That just gave me goosebumps because, we have 7 kids. I can't imagine what it would be like for your first child.
Yeah.
Let alone,
you're absolutely freaked out with your first
Yeah.
child. By the 7th, it's old hat, I imagine. You're like, whatever.
You want to go hang from the, rafters? Go for it.
Yeah.
But, that's no. So for residents who feel disconnected from state government, their decisions, what would you say to them about how their voices are actually being heard in Madison?
So I always encourage people to write to their legislators in terms of whatever they feel, even if you feel like your legislator agrees with you or doesn't agree with you. Because when I was in the state assembly, I would talk to people and they said, well, I know you agree with this thing, so I'm not going to email you. And I'm like, no, I want you to, because if somebody asks me if people are supportive of whatever policy, and if the only emails I've gotten are the ones that aren't supportive of it, I can't honestly say that the community wants it or needs it. And when I was a legislator, I went through every email, I read it, I had them summarize how many we got on different issues from my staff. If somebody called and left me a message, I would call them back. And I think that's what you should expect from your legislators in state government. You should hold them accountable. And I would say they do read, they do listen to those voicemails, and they are responsive to if something is coming up and it's getting quite a bit of anger or quite a bit of frustration. They're going to look at that and they may change their mind. And so realize that your voice matters and your vote matters.
Absolutely. And lastly, what is one policy or initiative you believe will most directly improve quality of life for Wisconsin families in the next 2 years?
So I tell you, I have been to all 72 counties every year that I have been lieutenant governor, because I strongly believe you can't lead unless you listen to people. And I will tell you, there are two things that come up everywhere I go. I don't care whether it's urban, rural, suburban, tribal land, and it's housing and childcare. Consistently. Other things come up in different parts of the state that are bigger priority or not. But I would say, for me, becoming governor, one of my biggest priorities is to make sure we treat childcare as infrastructure. So the federal government actually says that parents should not pay more than 7% of their income in childcare. You've got 7 kids, you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So average across the state of Wisconsin, it's $13,000 a year for one child in childcare, right? So if you can do the math, I'm sure there's some math teachers listening to you. That's almost $185,000 a year.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. Most people don't make that kind of money. So for me, a priority for my administration would be to treat it like infrastructure, and that families do not pay any more than 7% of their income in childcare. We've got to fix this. And it's not like childcare providers are coming home to big mansions, right? They're not paid particularly well.
No.
So my plan is to make sure that they are paid a minimum of $18 an hour.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it really is.
It really is. For the amount, I mean, I wouldn't be here as lieutenant governor if I didn't have a spot that I felt like I could put my kids that was safe when they were little.
Right.
And I am so grateful for the child care provider that I had. I had my kids in home care. I wanted it in that kind of homey environment. And I mean, her son was the same age as mine. They potty trained together, you know. It was a great fit. And I am so grateful for her that she was able to keep my kids safe, that I felt, you know, well enough to leave them there, that I could go to work, and then at the end of the day, become lieutenant governor.
Right.
Childcare is that important.
It is. I know when we were working and we both had to work, it was it was necessary.
Yeah.
And then when flexibility within our jobs, you know, then we didn't need daycare as much, or we just didn't need daycare, period. All the kids were in school,
right?
You know, that type of thing. But yeah, when they were little, oh my.
It's a huge chunk of your budget. I mean, think about that. If we can do that for young families, if you are thinking about where you want to move for a job, wouldn't Wisconsin be a great place if you're thinking about starting a family?
Definitely.
You know that you're going to be able to work and afford childcare. I mean, that's great.
That would be amazing. Oh my gosh. Is there anything that maybe I've overlooked that you want to jump in on?
I was going to talk about one thing that comes up consistently, particularly in rural spaces, is the data center issue.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes up quite a bit. And I've been really clear on my stance on that, which is a lot of communities tell me that it felt like it was sprung on them, that they didn't even know this was coming, and suddenly acres and acres and acres of gorgeous farmland are going to have this massive data center on it, and they don't want it in their community.
Right.
So I've been really clear that we should have statewide regulation on that. That is the floor, right? It's the minimum amount, which is you have got to make sure that you have an open conversation with the community, that you have to get community input before you put a data center in, that the data centers should be paying full price for their energy uses. It shouldn't be on the backs of taxpayers. And that they have to invest in renewable energies in the state. We have to invest in our infrastructure, because if we're going to be having that there, it's going to be a big drain on our infrastructure. If they're using water, they have to tell us how much, very clearly, very transparently. And if they're taking it out of the system, they have to put it in at the same quality and the same temperature that they put it in. And to be clear, this is not right for many communities, but it could be right for one place. I'll give you an example. Foxconn down in southern Wisconsin, that was a complete debacle. I mean, there was really nothing going on in that space, but they had already had that land prepared for Foxconn. That made sense. Right. Put a data center there. Okay, so then they can have a tax base for the city, but it may not make sense for Marinette. And that's those kind of things that the community members need to decide, and that's why we have to have those minimum requirements on the state level.
Right. That makes total sense. I mean, we had an issue here not too long ago, actually, where there was a company that was looking to come in, UWGB, and do something similar to that. Yeah. And
no, community members don't want it. I think and the community members have made that clear, right? Yeah. And so we have to listen to our communities. Yeah. And right. Exactly, which is fine. And I know I can imagine what that might look like in rural spaces. And I know rural spaces are being targeted way more for that type of infrastructure. So making sure that it is a transparent process and the community members have input on that to make sure that their elected leaders know if they want it or don't want it within the state. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was kind of like locally kind of just happened. It came up, and then it was media released, and then boom, done before anything could even get inked. Right. Which is,
and that's why we need to make sure the communities have significant input into this. I mean, again, there may be spaces in Wisconsin that it makes sense. Right. There might be. But we have to make sure that we have the input of the community members. Exactly. They're going to have to deal with that day in and day out, and they have to be consulted.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Just taking the time to pop on in. And,
I'm impressed with the 7 kids. I had 2. And I barely made it. Goodness. And now they're old now. They're 16 and 19.
Mine are 28 to 19.
Oh, wow. So you are empty nesting.
We are empty nesting.
See, I've got 1 down, 1 to go, 1 in college.
We've got grandkids.
Shut the front door. Oh, my goodness.
We've got grandkids.
Oh.
We've got 4.
Oh, my gosh. That's amazing.
I know.
Oh, my gosh. Oh,
gosh. I know. And we're not even 50 yet.
Oh, I just turned 50 last year.
We're cresting.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the club.
Thank you.
50 is amazing.
I don't mind. I'm honest.